Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Amazon exclusive Hasbro Marvel Legends series X-Men 20th anniversary 3-pack. This is PSYLOCKE, Nimrod, and Fantomex. So, pretty cool looking 3-pack. I got lucky, I got mine. When it first popped up, somebody on Instagram messaged me in Toy Shiz and were like, hey, did you guys notice this? It says it releases on the 28th. We're like, oh, that's crazy. And then somebody on Facebook messaged me saying, hey, mine's showing that it's arriving Tuesday. So I'm like, that's crazy. Mine still says November. So then I went in there, changed the shipping speed, and then boom, it said I'd be receiving mine Tuesday. And then a couple of minutes, just like maybe 2 minutes later, I actually got the charge for the 3-pack. I go back in and check my status. It says preparing for shipment. It shipped out the other day, and then it said expected Monday. So I'm like, cool. Last night I was looking, and it got into Manteca, which is the delivery facility. Late last night, I'm thinking, man, I wonder if I'm gonna get it on Sunday. And sure enough, out for delivery, and boom, I got it. And I got lucky, because mine came in a white shipper box, where a lot of folks were actually just getting this pack shipped out just like this with the shipping label on the back of the box. So again, I got very lucky, but looking at it, lots of accessories in this thing, so that is really cool. Fantomex is on Bucky Cap. Unparalleled Universe just messaged me a few minutes ago saying, man, that damn Fantomex is on the Bucky Cap body, because we were talking about it the other day, how the old one's a piece of shit, and so this one's supposed to be so much better, but then this one's Bucky Cap. Still gonna be better, but damn. PSYLOCKE has all of the same stuff and the typical female figure, so really the highlight in this one is going to be Nimrod, so can't wait to check it out. So similar style packaging that we see with the other 2-packs and whatnot. So the side artwork I'm not going to show you guys because it's going to be the exact same Fantomex and PSYLOCKE, as I remove the glare so you can see both of them, but Nimrod right on the back. So that is really cool. Enough talking about the box and a bunch of other crap. Let's get in. Okay, so here are the 3 figures out of the package. Now, because this is a 3-pack, I'm going to have to take this step by step. I'm going to try not to talk so much and really just get into the figures and everything and just kind of leave it at that. So we're going to take it one by one. So we'll take a look at PSYLOCKE first, do a side-by-side comparison, look at her accessories, all of that. Then we'll take a look at Fantomex and we'll finish off the video with Nimrod. So let's start with PSYLOCKE right now. Okay, so PSYLOCKE is very similar to the previous release that we actually got in the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure. The difference is going to be the belt sash is not the same. The body mold, the head sculpt, all of that is the same, just obviously different deco. And for those of you guys that may not be aware, there were 2 versions of this PSYLOCKE. There was the original one in blue with black hair, and then later on, or kind of at the same time, a variant of a darker blue suit with purple hair. So Hasbro was doing those funny things with running changes or variants. I would consider this one a variant because it's a major change where the suit color is different, the hair is different, and not just like the Thunderbolts shocker where the Thunderbolts logo was added at his waist. So I consider it a variant. I mean, some people will probably say running change, yeah, whatever you want to call it, but let's zoom in for PSYLOCKE. Okay, so here's an up-close look at the PSYLOCKE figure. Now, this figure is based off of her X-Force, Uncanny X-Force 17 look. There she is, PSYLOCKE and Fantomex. The suit matches. Here, I don't, depending on the shading and how they decided whether it was supposed to be kind of a purple look, but here it's all black, so that's why this suit design, and she doesn't have kind of the bare legs showing. But there she is. Now, one thing that I really noticed on this one compared to the older version, she definitely looks a lot more Asian in this new one compared to the one that we got before. Skin tone is much more pale, and then the eyes are a little bit more almond shaped. And she has the purple hair, but it looks pretty good. But nothing else going on with the figure. There's not a whole lot of paint to it. We kind of get the exposed leg portions there, and then on the arms, but other than that, really nothing else going on for the figure. So we'll take a look at her accessories, which are the same as the previous release, but the difference is they're not really translucent on this one, whereas they were on the previous one. So what's really nice about these is they're all done in a purple to pink color, so it kind of shades and blends into purple on some of these ends. So I really like the way that looks. And then this just kind of plugs onto her face, so it can look like she's using her telepathic abilities. I like that. It's really cool. She has the sword here. It is the same sword that we got previously, but again, different color. This one's not really so much translucent. We get some nice pink into purple. The sword's more of the purple color, but the flame effect that wraps around the sword goes to pink and then into purple, and that looks really good. Focus. So that is really nice. The last one is this hand effect. As you can see here, again, same thing that we got previously. It goes pink into purple, and it kind of wraps around her hand. And just to be certain, she comes with an additional interchangeable left fist for her left hand, because she comes with 2 open hands out of the package and then 1 fist hand. Why only 1 and not 2? I don't really know, but it is what it is. So that's what we got. So enough with Psylocke. Nope, not enough of Psylocke. One thing I didn't notice, she actually has some different shading in her hair. So there's some lighter purple into a dark purple, back to the lighter purple into a dark purple again. So that is definitely a nice touch added to the hair instead of one flat color. I always like when there's a little bit of color variation in hair to give it a more realistic textured look. So I really like that. It looks really nice. Okay, and here is the Fantomex figure. I'm just kidding. This is the garbage older one from Terrax, Arnim Zola Wave, maybe? This is the new one. This one is still just Bucky Cap. And get this, it uses the same exact damn coat from however many years ago this figure was released. So looking at the side-by-side comparisons, they are very similar because it uses the same suit, but there are some differences, mainly in the deco of like the jacket. If you take a look, even though it is the same exact jacket, they definitely changed the deco, whereas I think the older one definitely was a little bit more detailed because it had more of the squiggly lines. This one has that added diamond shape there, and this one's garbage because he doesn't like to stand because this old Toy Biz ass mold. Ugh. Anyway, Fantomex on the Bucky Cap. And mine, his ankles are extremely stiff. That's why he's leaning forward just to kind of get him to stand. Normally, I wouldn't ever have issues like this on a Bucky Cap body mold, but with him, I do. But let's zoom in. Okay, so here's the close-up look at Fantomex. Now, rest assured that there are no other reused parts for this figure other than the jacket itself. Everything else is new compared to the older one. Now, it's a Bucky Cap, so I think most of it is new. However, looking at this X-Force X-Men belt, I don't think we've seen that on any other figure. I tried looking it up, and it's similar to some others that we've seen, but I think it's new because it has like this gear shape to it around that X logo. So I think that's new, and that looks like it's applied pretty nicely. One of this red portion there, the triangle isn't quite a triangle there, but it's not so bad. We get holsters on the legs there as part of the belt, so I didn't even realize that until looking at the jacket. Stupid me. So yeah, so it's definitely one that's new that we haven't seen before. The boots, we get these boot cuffs that are the same from like the Jim Lee Cyclops, so those ones keep falling on mine. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but you know, we had to deal with that with Cyclops. You could glue them down if you wanted to. It's all done on a white base and then just black paint through the lines throughout the figure. Looks pretty good. The highlight is definitely the head sculpt. I think it came out looking really, really nice. So good job, Hasbro. It is definitely not the same. As you can see there, this one had blue eyes, new one has black eyes, but the sculpt of it is quite nice. You can see it's basically the exact same design, just, you know, a newer sculpt, because we get the textured seams in the head, and that is really nice. So the accessories that he comes with 2 guns. These are the same guns, not exactly realistic looking, but also not terrible, I would say. They're just done in a flat gray plastic, but they're not that semi-translucent looking real cheap gray. This is kind of a flat gray, so I don't necessarily mind it so much on these. Silver paint or even black guns wouldn't have been so bad, but you know, he has gray guns, so you know, I guess obviously they went with gray. But we get those fire pistol effect pieces which port right on into the guns. We saw these with like some of the Black Widow figures. So we get those. Again, you get 2 pieces. They're 2 different lengths, as you could see. So we'll port this one into this gun as well. So we have our 2 pistols. You could see the length of those 2. Are a lot. One is shorter. Then we get the smoke effects as well. So after he's fired his weapon, you can show the smoke effect like so. And we get 2 of these pieces. Again, these are the same that we saw with the Black Widow figures. And those are his only accessories. So you have the figure, his 2 guns, and then these effect pieces for those guns. And then they holster right on here with his on his leg. So you kind of have to move the jacket back and then work the gun into the holster. Man, that's a real pain. That's a real pain in the ass to do. There's not a lot of leeway when, you know, folding out that jacket to do that, but that's the only way to get it in there. And they are a nice tight fit, so they won't be going anywhere. And then the barrel, the handle of the gun really pushes that jacket out. So that's kind of funky, and see the boot cuff just keeps wanting to fall down. But there is Fantomex. Now, let's look at Nimrod. Okay, so here is the Nimrod figure out of the package. This one is the highly anticipated one. When I first started getting into collecting back in 2013, two figures everybody was saying that they wanted for Build-A-Figures. One was Strong Guy, two was Nimrod. It's taken until 2020 to get both of those figures released. One as a Build-A-Figure, the Strong Guy and the Deadpool Wave, and then Nimrod now in this 3-pack. So we finally got him. It's taken 7 years from the time I started collecting to the time that those figures actually came out. But people have been just every single time, what do you think the Build-A-Figure is going to be? It's Nimrod, it's Nimrod, it's Nimrod. All this and that. And then there were hardly any X-Men figures in those early years too. But anyway, we'll get right to it. So we'll look at his accessories first. So we'll zoom in there. We get these two repulsor-like blast effects. That these are pretty cool. They have this wrap-around little pink energy-like portion around it, and that is part of the effect piece. It is not removable because it is attached right there. So that's not going anywhere. At first I thought maybe you can remove them, but they just kind of move around on there, and it's attached on that end as well. But that is pretty cool. Nice bright pink translucent color. And we got two of them. So one for each hand. So as you can see on the figure itself, he has the two open hands, but he comes with two fists that you can interchange. That is pretty cool. And then we have an interchangeable head. So one gives us a more modern look, one gives us a little bit more of a classic look. And that is really nice. And I'll show you guys how to move the head later on. It looks like it pops on with a ball peg, but there's no way that this figure is going to be able to move around. And then the last additional accessory is going to be his wing piece, which you can see there, which is done in a very soft type of translucent plastic. So it's not rubber, it's a plastic, but it's still really, really soft. It's done in that same pink translucent color. It just attaches to his spine with two little pegs on the back there, as you can see, and that is a nice touch and does look really good. So that is additional accessory. We'll put that off to the side, and there's Nimrod. But let's zoom in to get a better look at that head sculpt. Okay, for the close-up for Nimrod, so this is the more modern look and head sculpt to Nimrod, and I think it looks really good. We get this nice pearlescent white plastic throughout the entire figure. It's not so much paint, but it's a nice shiny white, especially the face. Really kind of get that pearlescent look to it. Right here on the middle of his chest, it's a slightly translucent little pink piece right there, so it kind of, you can kind of see through it, and that looks really nice. Looking at the rest of the figure, very limited paint apps, but the paint apps that are there are done nicely because they're all just line work, and the line work is clean throughout, so that is good. Even on the back we get some pink, not a lot, but we do get some, especially there on his back and the shoulder and the arms. Looking at the arms there, if anything it gets a little sloppy right in there, and then right in this side as well. Not that big of an issue, that's just getting really nitpicky. Now swapping out the heads, it's going to be kind of weird. I think you just kind of lift up on it a little bit and just kind of pop it off, and that's how it's on there, just a big old peg, because there's no way to move the head around anyway. So the B head, because there's a B inscribed in this one, this is the more classic head from its first appearance. So there you have it, and I think that actually looks a lot better. Even it has this deep pink color to it, and that is really nice. Okay, so when using the effect pieces with Nimrod, so he can't really hinge his hands to be straight out, so they kind of have to point downwards, but I mean, he's taller than all the other figures, so I guess it makes sense in some ways, or if you just kind of turn the hand all the way to the side, you can kind of get it straight out type of thing. But both of these open hands just have the peg hole there, so you could just port the effect pieces right on in. And you have your Nimrod using his blast effects like so. Oh, see, I hinged it too much, popped the hand right out. So that's not a very deep hinge, and then the way it goes, it's recessed back in there, so you just don't get a whole lot of hinge going on with those hands. But we'll take a look at the articulation here now. We'll do all three. We'll do a speed run through all of them. Okay, so PSYLOCKE's articulation. I'm zoomed out because we're going to do all of it here in one take. She can't look all the way down. She's not going to look up because her hair is going to get in the way. Shoulder is going to go very high. You get a full rotation there. Single jointed elbow, so swivel at the elbow, 90-degree bend at the elbow. That's it. Wrists swivel and they hinge. You have a diaphragm rocker because it is a female figure. Not a whole lot going to the side that way. Not a whole lot going to the other side. Only a little bit back. Not a whole lot going forward. Typical female body mold that we always get. Legs go out that far apart. She can't kick forward pretty high. Not really going to go back a whole lot. up. Oh, shit. Well, upper thigh cut, but mine didn't want to move, so the leg popped off. Good thing is they're on a ball peg, so you could just pop them right back on. But mine's too stiff, but there is an upper thigh cut there. Double jointed knee like so. No boot swivel or anything. We don't typically get that with female figures. Foot hinges all the way down, hinges up a little bit, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. There is PSYLOCKE. Not bad. Fantomex. Pucky cap. Oh, wrong Fantomex. This Fantomex. They look the exact same when they're lying right there on the table. So, those guns really get in the way. Pushes the jacket out and everything. Get that torso going up. Anyway, head side to side. Can't look up. That much. Jacket collar kind of gets in the way. You can look all the way down. That is pretty good. You get the full swivel. Not a whole lot of pivot going on in there. Arm can go up that high. You get a full rotation, upper bicep swivel. You get a double jointed elbow, which gives you only 90-degree bend because that glove kind of gets in the way with the bicep, unfortunately. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge, and we get that nice vertical hinge instead of the horizontal hinge, so that is good. Ab crunch, he can crunch forward that much, which is pretty good. You're not going to get him to crunch back because the jacket's going to get in the way, and then especially if you have the guns and the holsters, it just doesn't really want to work out in anybody's favor. There is a waist swivel in there. Legs are only going to go that far apart, but these holsters kind of move around with it. You can kick forward that much. Not really going to get back because, again, the jacket's really going to get in the way of that. Upper thigh cut. You get a double jointed knee, but jacket is in the way. Boot swivel, or calf swivel, I guess, in this case. And these damn boot cuffs just keep wanting to fall down. They're probably worse than the Cyclops one. Foot hinges down, hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. Bucky cap. Same exact articulation as Bucky cap. A million times we've seen Bucky cap. Now, for Nimrod, there is no head articulation whatsoever. You're not going to get any movement going on. Shoulder can go out that high. The shoulder pad is keyed in into that torso piece, so that's not really going to get in the way. So you can do a full rotation there, and the shoulder pad moves along with it. Just like we saw with War Machine, just like we saw with Silver Centurion. That is nice. Now, there's kind of a butterfly joint in there. I say kind of, but not really. Like, you can force it, but it's not going to stay in any particular way. But if you look inside there, it looks like there would be a butterfly joint. So just a heads up on that. You have an upper bicep swivel there. We get a single jointed elbow, which gives you just about 90 degrees there. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge. And again, you can't hinge it. Oh, see? Try and hinge it, just pops that hand right off. So you're only going to be able to hinge it that much. And that's not terrible, but it's not straight out like I would want. Torso, we have a diaphragm rocker. So you get a swivel that doesn't want to stay. So watch out, he's about to backhand somebody. Yeah, he's not going to want to stay in there. You don't even really get pivot in there. You can't... I mean, tiny bit, but not a whole lot, right? Going back, nope. Going forward, yeah, a little tiny bit. You actually get one little click going forward. But that's it. So that's very limited. Oh, man. No waist swivel. Legs go out that far apart. Not a whole lot. You can see here the way the leg is designed. So that kind of pushes out when it meets up with that hip. This one didn't quite get on there. It kind of went underneath. So it just kind of depends on how you work it. You can kick him forward that much. You can go back about one click. There is that upper thigh cut double jointed knee. So that actually works really well. That's probably the best point of articulation on the figure. The feet are weird. They kind of hinge down, which doesn't give you a whole lot. They kind of hinge up, but not really. There is pivot, but you don't really get much use of it because the design of the leg itself around there is really going to hinder that. So it's kind of weird. I mean, all the movement's there, but you're just not going to get the full functionality of it because of the design of the leg. There's just not a lot of freedom in there for the feet. So there is the articulation. Okay, so I know that was probably pretty lengthy, kind of going over the articulation. Nimrod is really limited, which is unfortunate because, damn, he's the highlight of the box set, right? And at $80 for 3 figures, Nimrod looks great, but man, I wanted more. I would have thought a little bit better movement. That torso not really being able to freely move, just kind of always whipping back into place is unfortunate. PSYLOCKE, as it looks good, we already got that figure. However, I know lots of people didn't get that PSYLOCKE figure, and she's crazy expensive now, so this is a good chance to get PSYLOCKE. Fantomex, a much needed re-release on a terrible body mold from before, so that is really good. It's better, yes, but it's Bucky Cap, so the Spider-Man 2099 body mold would have been much better and allow, I think, a little bit more movement when it comes to the coat, but I kind of get it, right? If you're using the coat, the butterfly joint wouldn't really work anyway, so maybe that was their justification. I'm not really sure, but the figure does look good, just like all three figures in this pack. But the $80 price tag is pretty crazy. We know that with Amazon exclusives, at some point they usually go on sale, so you're probably going to be okay if you play the waiting game and hope for like a Black Friday sale or something, because I'm sure it will be discounted. But you know, if you can't wait, just like me, I'm very impatient. You know, I want to get the figures as soon as I can. I also want to get the review out to you guys, you know, as soon as I can. So I'm happy paying the $80. Most of the time, it seems justifiable, but with this $80 pack, even if you say with the anniversary line at $25 an individual figure, so $25, $50, that makes Nimrod $30. Then I guess okay, but if you look at it from a $20 standpoint, because there's nothing really special about these compared to at least some of the other 20th anniversary with a lot of new mold and sculpts and things like that. So I'd say 20, 40, and then Nimrod being a $40 figure, that's a tough one to swallow. I just don't think there's a whole lot to it. Maybe if just the movements, I don't know, something about it. But you guys let me know down in the comments below what all your thoughts on each one of these figures are. Again, I'm pleased with the pack, but Nimrod, I wished for a little bit more in terms of the articulation, but the figures all just look good. So for me, my collection, everything is just all standing up vanilla pose, pushed and jammed into a detolf anyway, so it's not really a problem for me. But a lot of you guys doing photography, not really sure what else you could do. You can just kind of have them standing there looking menacing, but I'm curious to know all your guys' thoughts on that. Let me know down in the comments below. If you guys like the video, please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, hit the notification bell, and as always, thank you for watching.